Hello and welcome to another History After Hours podcast.
Good morning.
Episode 6. This is October the 16th, 2015. Hello everyone. How are you doing today? How are you feeling? Okay, so we are doing another
live.
They're
not sure how they feel. That's the thing.
Yeah, so here's what we've been doing. If you're tuning into this one, this could be a year from now. Who knows? But we are doing a live podcast in front of our students. My name is Kevin Pumphrey. To my right is John Mark Pierce.
Good morning.
And Mr. Ron Franklin.
Hey, what's up?
And we are going to just wing it for the next 30 minutes to debate topics or argue. And if you're good, I'll do a backflip at the very end.
Ooh, hey, I've got a really good one to start with. When you said wing it, just made me think of that. Would you wear one of those wingsuits and jump off of an airplane and go flying around like Superman? Would you do that?
I would skydive. I don't know about...
No, wingsuit.
It has a parachute too, though, at the end, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know. I think you just hope for the best. I don't know. Maybe the backpack messes it up for a parachute.
I'm pretty sure it has a parachute.
I don't know, because like dudes die. If I had a parachute,
I'm gonna look it up.
Jump off of things and they just But that's the ultimate thrill, man. I'm flying like that little Petrie guy on what was the Land Before Time? I fly, no you fall. No, I don't want to do that. So
wait,
which Land Before Time? Land Before Time 27.
All of them.
Which one? Because there was a lot of those.
Can you survive? You can survive. There's people. Somebody's his chute didn't open. He hit the ground, right, and the angle he hit the ground.
That's lame.
He survived. And apparently, when he hit the ground, he went back up like 10 feet and he bounced 10 feet in the air. But survived.
Now, hit a trampoline? What do you do?
I don't know. Now maybe that's one of those stories that isn't true. However,
people have survived long falls. I just don't know
what is
how
the
often
highest
that is the odds
fall
of
that someone has survived. Hey, I would probably kill myself falling off my desk.
Have a parachute?
Yeah, what's the highest? Can you survive?
But you see these guys because they do some really cool things. They're like flying squirrels, man. I saw the guy. There was like a duel, it was like a tandem thing. One guy, they all had like GoPros on, and they jump out of the plane. And then, the big Christ of the Redeemer there in Brazil, there in Rio de Janeiro. Like they flew through the arm and did some cool things. I mean,
I'd probably get hung up on it and just be hanging there.
You get the finger. That's how it makes a whole other term of getting the finger.
Hit a flock of birds on the way
I don't know,
down.
but the thought of it intrigues me. I don't know that I really would because, I want to keep living. But
anybody ever skydive? Anybody? I would do it. How many of you would do it?
I would skydive, yeah.
I plan on doing it.
Look at all these brave. I would do it. And then they're up there. I don't want to go. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so just random side thought since you said wing it.
There you go. All right. You might want to ask a question or give us a topic to talk about.
All right, we've got
it can be politics, but we would rather this.
Waiting.
We've been talking about politics for 2 hours, so it can be something else.
State your question.
It can be anything. Oh, and say your name.
I'm Raymond McNary, and how different would the world would be if we lost the revolution? America lost the revolution.
There you go. That's an interesting. Yeah, it's a great question. How different would the world be if we lost the American?
If America, well, there is actually a documentary called "The World Without." No, it's not the world without us, but it's the
us without us.
I don't know.
The U.S. without us.
There is a documentary that projects what life would be like if the United States was never created. I don't know. I don't have an answer really.
Would we?
All right. So we had that influence on the French Revolution, So would that have changed it all?
That would change things, right? So so if let's say that we lose, that Washington in 76 and 77 gets bogged down, maybe the troops all die at Valley Forge, or we have this massive epidemic of whatever, yellow fever or something, because a lot of them were sick with that anyway, and we just give up. Yeah, it's really not worth it. Let's all go home, say sorry, and all you revolutionary boys. Well, all right, here's the first thing: if we lose, all those guys that signed the Declaration of Independence are dead.
All those people on our money, they would be considered. We would look back at them as evil traitors and all that.
Right, they would be vilified.
As Britain looks at them today.
Mm-hmm. So instead of the founding fathers, they would be the traitors to because we would still be British basically. I'm not saying that something couldn't happen later on, but if we just kind of carry that thought, this is a civil, and we've actually had a little bit of this conversation before. What this really is, we like to call it a revolution because it worked, but realistically, it's a civil war. We're rebelling against our own country. And not everybody in this country was rebelling. It was a very small percentage of colonists in a very specific spot. We talk about around New England and Boston. Those are the boys that were really hammering it out. And then others sort of joined in as we get going, but it was never sort of this cohesive movement. So the idea that we could have lost is very intriguing because realistically, if you think about it from a statistical standpoint, we should have lost. There's really not much of a reason for us to be able to have done to accomplish what we did. So we had to have help. That's number one. So
we don't go west as fast.
Right. Well, yeah, because
Napoleon's not selling the Louisiana Purchase to England.
he is not. He's
And
not
they
gonna
were
do that.
already trying to restrict our move west.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, Native Americans might be happier about it.
We became a pivot point for both of those countries because all of a sudden they could, and we're kind of a non-factor for a while because they still come back. War of 1812 happens, and we have a lot of things that are going on. But realistically, they are going to, in a weird way, use us against each other to continue on some of the struggles that they've had for a long time. So that border boundary, maybe we have another French and Indian War if the American Revolution doesn't work out, because they're going to have to try to figure out who's going to control what. Will the British try to push on and take the Mississippi River? Probably, but I don't know how long that would have taken. I don't know. That's an interesting thought. But then you move that forward however many years, and then what? Do we still have the world wars? Do we still have what if?
Yeah, I mean, it's nearly impossible to speculate with any degree of accuracy. If we remain English, then obviously we start World War I with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They recruit soldiers from this continent. I don't know. We'd have those cool accents, maybe. No, probably not.
We would have messed it up already.
Probably.
Just like we did originally.
Well,
Like
true.
this
Yeah.
button.
It's weird. And this is odd, just as a side thought. Can you imagine? We see American history movies and whatever, and you hear people like Washington, and he's, we will be a great country among men. But really, they're like, Washington would have probably talked like this. And that's an odd thought for us to think that our founding fathers more than likely had a British accent. No?
I don't like
it doesn't
thinking
really
about
work. It
that.
doesn't
Just
feel
be
right.
honest, I don't
It
like
doesn't
thinking
feel
that.
right
It
at all.
doesn't. It does
But it's
not at all.
probably true. They probably spoke more like that. I mean, he probably didn't have a Cockney accent, but whatever.
Yeah.
That was a very spot-on British accent, by the way. Congratulations. That was very good.
I work hard at it. Thank you.
Hey, we're fixing to go to London. You get to hear it. In
We
person.
are. We are.
Yeah. So there you
All
go.
right, I saw a hand go up. No, you got to come up here. You got to say your name.
We have a
too.
student walking up here, and she is now here.
Question.
Oh,
This
you're
is
just-
an add-on.
Oh, you're adding on. That's cool. Yeah, do that.
I actually read that it was we have the original English accent, and it is England who changed their accent later on. But internet.
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
That's interesting. I think that's
Arlie, by the way.
incorrect. And the reason I say that is because you can go and study, look at the way things were written in Elizabethan times. Let's say, for instance, around the Shakespearean moment, where when we turn over into the 1600s, and if you go back and look at the way the pronunciations are in even the written work that's left over from that time, then it's not our accent that I don't think it worked that way. I mean, it's an interesting thought, but I don't think that's the way that worked.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, look at the way they spell theater. Why aren't we spelling theater like that?
Theatre.
I have a big thing about spelling. I just don't. Why can't we just spell it phonetically? Why can't we shimmy that K off of knee? I mean, it's about time, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, hey, this is, I have a big problem, and this is something I struggle with because we're going to go to France, and I'm trying to learn some French language stuff so we can kind of cooperate and get along. But I don't understand silent letters. Like, that doesn't work for me. I don't understand when to pronounce what. And so just on a general
I mean, I get them
thing-
on the end of the word because it'll change a vowel sound.
But how do you know which one does what?
I don't know.
I
See,
haven't
I just-
studied it long enough.
I don't know.
Do I pronounce it?
Side note, the very first song I ever learned to sing was a French song, and I don't know what it means.
Farajaka?
No.
Yeah.
It's something my mom took French when she was in high school or whatever, and she knew a French song, and she taught it to me.
You still know the-
Nicky said elle est tout simplement rouge, brava, janta. I don't even know what it means. I could be cussing.
You're just making stuff
French,
up.
so-
Those aren't even real words.
Really,
French
please
words.
look it up. History teacher goes on a cussing rant.
Everybody in
Podcast
France
gets
is
shut
extra
down after
mad
6
today.
episodes.
Yeah.
So no, all right. So you said the shave the K off of knee.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
what?
And knock, same
but in
thing.
medieval times, the K was pronounced, or actually even up through Elizabethan time, you pronounced
Knie?
the K, Knie or knife or knite.
That's crazy.
That's why Monty Python is. Okay. So yeah, so we just changed it as we got. But yeah, like pharmacy. Why?
Yeah, I mean, we changed some words
psychotic.
like color, the English spelling of color.
Kalua.
Yeah. O-U-R.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, yes. And here we go.
50 Shades of.
Here's my thing. Okay, so if I am going to read a book, how would you spell that? R-E-A-D. But if I have already read a book, how would you spell that? Exactly.
That's why a lot of people have trouble moving from a non-English speaking country and over here is
If two words sound different, they should be spelled different. And also, if they sound the same, like what is that little thing in a woodwind instrument?
a reed.
A reed. R-E-E-D.
Where's my question? If you're looking at red and reed, well, then the color red, do you change the color red spelling or the red? Like
I
red
think
book
if it's
spelling?
red and that's how you pronounce it, it should be spelled the same no matter how you do it. I guess R-E-D would be red.
Okay.
So I read a book, R-E-D.
Okay.
It's a conspiracy theory to keep immigrants at a disadvantage.
That's right.
Oh, American government. Name and your question.
I'm Riley, and my comment is if red and read are spelled the same way, why are lead and lead not?
Once again, this is a good question that it's one of my things. I just don't like it. I'm against it. I think we could simplify everything. No silent letters.
Why do we need vowels, really? Let's just get rid of vowels.
Well, we kind of
No,
need
I'm
'em.
serious. Why do we need vowels? It doesn't
Well,
make
the
it.
Phoenicians and
We don't need it. Sure, why not?
Need them.
All right, it's a movement. It's official. We're going to start
We're going to
protesting.
change.
Yeah.
English teachers are yelling right now at their phones
Right.
or whatever they're listening to this.
I'm really against protesting, but I just don't know how to show it.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Any other questions? Did we answer that one? I don't even know what
I don't know.
What was
maybe.
the question?
I
I've
don't-
already forgotten it.
Oh, we were talking about spelling, but I don't know how it got brought up.
Okay. New topic. Anybody?
The Cubs are going to win the World Series.
Don't be shy, people.
That's my.
I'm a huge
current event
sports
right now.
fan, and I've played sports and been into it. I have never gotten into baseball. Never.
What really
well,
ruined
about
me-
this time is the only time I would ever watch a game.
What really ruined me for baseball was when I started umpiring baseball. You see just the terrible aspects of humanity when you umpire baseball, and so that really kind of ruined it for me. That's why I took 2 years off. I'm thinking about doing it again this spring, but
I coached high
Ruined it
school,
for me.
I coached junior high, and I've coached pee-wees, and the most stressful and dealing with the parents is the pee-wees. Oh, my
definitely.
goodness. The kids were great. The parents were
they're
animals.
having fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see, speaking
Let
of
me relive my life through my child.
right.
Yeah.
There's some, and I don't know which state it's in, but they've had to cancel their high school football season. I think all of their sports are maybe in jeopardy because there are the parents are actually so out of control, and there's been fights in the stands. There's been threats made. They actually found bullet casings outside the school with threats written on them directed at individual people who will be playing and people who might be reffing. Like, that's serious. And so they're like, we have to shut it down. We can no longer have sporting activities because the parents are out of control. And little kids are like, can't we all just get along? We don't know what's going on. I mean, you're taking that moment away from these children because you can't get your head straight. You know, we've gone beyond competitive nature, I think, into
Well, listen,
really
I grew up in a
asinine
tiny
behavior.
little school, and we had a neighboring school that we were rivals. And I remember going to a basketball game, and we had a police escort just because
Yeah.
they were scared something was going to happen or somebody tried to hurt me or somebody.
My
one of the-
junior year of high school, we were playing the playoffs. We played against Earl. You ever been to Earl? Northeast Arkansas?
I don't know.
Okay, so when we went through that little town, there were 3 state troopers that met us there and 1 Earl police officer. We went to, I guess we got off at the wrong place at the school, and they're like, this cop got out of the car, like, get back in your bus right now. It was
Sports
pretty.
can be intense. Okay, we have another question.
All right. Hello. I'm Nathan. Which leader had a bigger impact only on their specific country, Hitler or Stalin?
On their specific country?
Yeah, not like the whole world as a whole, just like this specific country.
Who? All right, so Hitler and his impact on
Germany.
and Stalin and his impact on Russia.
You could make an argument that Hitler had more of an impact on his generation than any other human that has ever lived. One man impacting their generation. But then, of course, his influence and impact quickly faded.
Yeah.
Stalin's influence, you could say, lasted a lot longer.
Well, let's break it down.
Or at least some of the hardliners
Let's look
in
at
the-
Hitler's movements. When he takes over Germany in 1933, they were on the edge of the abyss politically, economically. They were socially demoralized because of what had happened during World War I and the whole Versailles Treaty. And you guys that are with us, we haven't studied that yet, but we will. And he will, in a very brief amount of time, 2 years basically, will turn that scenario around, cancel their debts, restructure the financial system, take on the political opponents, and will make a cohesive unit within inside that country, and then will rearm and start to reclaim territory that had been stripped away from them by the Allied powers after that war. So, and everybody,
financial point, how he fixed their financial issues,
right,
as well.
Everybody around them. I mean, they were like Hitler fans. Even in the United States, people were like, "Man, that guy is awesome."
So what was it? 37. He was Man of the Year.
Yeah, 37 to 38. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Times Man of the Year.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. He was on the cover because it was such a brilliant maneuver. He had changed the course of a Central European country, which is very, I mean, in the industry that goes along with that, and they were a viable world power again under his leadership within just a matter of years. It didn't take long at all. So it was a brilliant thing. And like I said, everybody, you think about folks in England and folks around him, they're like, that guy is brilliant. You know, he had a fan club of other politicians who just really were intrigued by, and businessmen with inside the United States. People like Henry Ford. Henry Ford was a Hitler fan. They were big buddies actually, and they spent time together. And Ford actually helps him. They brings the mechanized, the assembly line process to Germany, and they helps them build the Volkswagens, the first one. So that guy's making a tremendous impact. But do you look at Stalin and say, since he ended up impacting more people, because inside Russia you've got millions more people than you have in Germany at that point, does that answer the question?
In communism, the communist government was already rolling when Stalin took over. Hitler started a whole new thing. Of course, it all went away.
Right.
Stalin took something that already existed, and of course, he changed it to a degree. But that kept going through the 50s, through the 60s. I don't know.
It's an interesting question, Nathan. I don't know. That's a tough one, because then you talk about.
Well, it's hard not to take it from just their specific country and then look out at how they affected everything else around it too.
Right.
That's
yeah.
hard,
Just to keep it
that's
inside
hard
the
for
country.
me to think about. Yeah.
Stalin's impact. Well, see, here's the thing. He took what Lenin was doing and changed directions.
Yeah,
Lenin was
he did,
actually
big
much
time.
more moderate than Stalin was,
Wow.
and then so with his 5-year plans and all the ways that he's going to take down and controlling the food and pushing people, and it's a different.
By the way, both of these guys, we do want to get this out there. We do agree pretty much that both of these guys were evil to some degree.
I wouldn't want them to be in charge of the
Right. They were kind of psychopaths, power hungry, and they did some despicable things.
I think if you're looking at.
So we're not praising these guys.
But I think
at
if you're
all.
looking at good versus bad, if you ignore, which you really can't do ultimately, but if you ignore the downside of what Hitler did and the downside of what Stalin's policies did, and you just look at the things that they impacted that became a positive thing that we could look at, I think Hitler is the better guy. Whereas I think Stalin's policies just in general were very short-sighted, myopic, and ultimately doomed that country to a sense of stagnation. So as opposed to Hitler, who was financially brilliant.
Yeah. Smart guy.
Somebody should just have encouraged him more in art school. We'd have him completely.
Dang French.
Can't somebody just say something nice about his watercolors, please?
I know. We
And
could have
then-
avoided a whole world war if somebody just meant, "Oh, that looks pretty good, Hitler." Oh, you think so?
I should add some of his works into my AP Art History class. This when we start talking about that, say, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Well, this is what started World War II.
Yeah, for you guys that don't know that, Hitler wanted to be an artist. That was
he
his
did.
lifelong dream. He actually moved, changed cities, left home, wanted to explore that creative side of his personality, and was shunned. And
He was bullied.
Probably a little,
That's the
probably a little
other-
bitter about it. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
It's the downside of bullying.
If I can't bring humanity together, I would destroy the world.
All right. What else? Anybody else got something else you'd like for us to ramble on about?
Mr. Slay, I mean, you always have good questions about things.
Oh, you're gonna single people out? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was just, he seems interested.
You need motivation. Come up here and ask a question, sir. All right.
Here he comes. He'll be here in 3 seconds. 2 and 1.
Say your name and some brilliant question.
My name is Coburn Slay.
And before he begins, this is going to be the best question that you've ever heard. I hope I'm not building this up too much, but we expect nothing but excellence.
It's going to be brilliant.
We can't state this enough. This could change the course of human history.
Not to put you on the spot,
no pressure.
but what you say next can alter the course of human history. Ready? Go.
Going off of what y'all talking about with Hitler and Stalin, what do you think defines evil, and who do you think was more evil, Hitler or Stalin?
That is good.
Well,
That is good.
man, good thing we had that build up because that was nice. Yeah,
It was.
Didn't disappoint. Okay.
I thought
Is
that's better than y'all like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
You know,
What? Do you think that we should have less salt in our diet? No.
All right, evil. What's evil?
Evil. What is evil? Man, that is such an existential question.
All right, Socrates. Let's see. What is evil, everybody? Okay, I guess harm to other humans. Can we start there? Can
Don't we need to
agree
harm
that-
some other humans though
I
to
know.
get? I mean,
we need
really.
a plague, people.
population problems.
Yeah, some people
population
need to
problems.
not be here, right?
Over 65. Is that what you said earlier?
But not.
How about
No, because here's the thing: when I make a decision about like how to treat people, like I think that's great, you know. So I would think that that's what needs to be. It's the perfect scenario, but that may harm you, and you're gonna be like, that guy's evil. But then if you did something to me, then I'm gonna say that you're evil, and so now we have this real conundrum about who's morally just. And I think that's going to be the hardest part to try to answer this is how do we nail that down because it is so subjective.
So I have a book called The 100 Most
Are you done reading that
Influential
yet?
Evil People or something like that.
Are you done
So
with
they
that? 'Cause
rank
I wanna read it.
people
Yeah, I want to read that.
by how evil they are. Of course, I have 100 book, y'all. And Hitler's number 1, Stalin's number 2. And then they have a list of Genghis Khan is in there.
There's some.
Vlad the
I've read
Impaler's
some
like
of
number
them,
10.
and some of those. I mean,
And then it gets into serial killers, and they rank them by influence. So you have to harm so many people to make the book.
What I thought was weird about that book is that they rank their evil index on evilometer. Is that a scale that we can? I'm just making words up now. That on the number of people that were impacted. Does that matter, or is it the viciousness with which you treat individual people? Does
evil
volume
is-
matter when we start scoping out what's evil and what's not?
I mean
how
that
about
makes
this?
it more widespread and more known. But I
But-
don't think
well-
evil. I think evil is evil.
But
which
to my point though, if you're going to talk about people who kill people, and this is the problem I had with that book, there's not a single American on that list who's not a serial killer. But we can go and say Truman, who dropped 2 bombs on 2 unsuspecting cities and killed 200,000 people each. Plus, we add that over to the other effects, and so he is a mass murderer if you want to think about it. But we don't consider that evil because it's on our side, which goes back to my original point about subjectivity.
Well, is
He
there
did name of freedom, you know.
what's more evil? Personally killing. Let's say somebody kills kids and all sorts of horrible things. Personally, with a knife, kills kids. That's evil to a degree. Or somebody who orders the bombing of a city. Then you got to think about what's more evil. Like, how many people did Hitler personally kill
Well,
with his bare hands?
he killed his wife
Yeah, and himself.
and himself, so that's 2.
Okay, so we have serial killers that have killed 10, 20 people maybe. You've got evil acts of crashing planes into buildings. It's hard to say. There's obviously you can judge evil by influence, how many people you impact. But evil, I mean, what's the most despicable thing a human can do? And then where's that evil? Like, let's say they only do it
Well,
to one person.
Let's take killing itself. Does the reason why I killed somebody, not that I've killed anybody, I want to clarify.
Day's not over.
We'll see what happens. But the reason you do something, does that make a difference too? So is it intent? I accidentally did this, or I did this to save someone else, or I just sort of attacked somebody at random. But still, the point is that somebody's dead. Like, you have taken a human life, whether it's justified through the legal system. We're going to take, and this is the thing in Arkansas right now, because Asa Hutchinson, our current governor, has now made it, cleared the path to resume lethal injections in the state. So we have people on death row who are like, no, you can't kill us because that's, wrong, and you're evil for doing that. So, but the state sanctions it, or if the government sanctions it in some way, then all of a sudden it's great. Or we send people off to war and we kill in magnitude, right? We're going to drop bombs
From
and send
60,000
drones
feet and calling it freedom.
So, but it's right. So we're going to free the hell out of you if you don't. Right? Better step
Take
back.
our freedom from us.
So I mean, so ponder that though. Is it about life itself? Is life actually precious to us, or are we just saying certain lives are precious to us?
Yeah, we've definitely traded Americans for other, whether you talk about Native Americans or you talk about Japanese people, or you can talk about, when you talk about weighing lives, we value American lives. And I'm saying government-wise, maybe not. But at the same time, there's got to be something evil about being able to kill someone else with your bare hands. as opposed to somebody who
that-
orders it.
I put that above that.
Yeah, but if I'm defending my family, like, do you still count that
Right,
the
yeah.
same, right? So,
No, no. I think there's justified killings.
Right, but who makes the justification? That's the point.
Me.
Then okay, but the guy who his family, who he's dead because whatever, and they're like, well, you didn't understand him. He had
Made a bad
problems.
decision coming into my house at
Well,
night.
but he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he had some sort of mental incapacity.
I guess it comes back to intent. What is your intent?
Right.
And
I
that's
intend
hard
to torture. To me, torturous
perspective
behavior
together.
is right. That to me, that's one of those qualifying factors. If you're deriving glee from someone else's extreme pain and suffering, that is evil to me.
Wow, this podcast took a left turn. Thanks, Coburn. Let's talk about evil and torture. All right. Well, there you go. I don't know if we answered his question.
I don't know that there is an answer.
Yeah. I think it goes to intent, a person's true intent, and it's hard to ever know that.
And you can always go back to whatever religion you believe in and see what they say. Right. Because and we talked about this too. We in the earlier podcast we were talking about militancy and this and that, and somebody brought up ISIS before, but it's interesting to me to watch the history of religious activity and realize that among the major movements, the common thread is peace and harmony and love and understanding and forgiveness and all of that. And then if you don't agree with that, we'll bring our armies down there and destroy you. So it's it's an odd sort of scenario. For example, we talked about the Christian armies that marched out during the Middle Ages or whatever. And then we brought up in class the other day, it's like, WWJK, who would Jesus kill? And really, the answer is nobody. But we do that historically over and over and over again, where we send out militants in the name of Christianity or whatever religion. Pick one. They all tend to do that. So,
how many religions have spread through nonviolence?
Or how far, right? How many Jainists are in the room? Anybody? Anybody practice Jainism? Right. That's what I'm saying, because they are completely nonviolent. Therefore, they didn't spread very far. No hands went up. Nothing against Jainists. I think they're cool people.
So you can make an argument that had Christianity not been so violent during the Middle Ages, it wouldn't have spread.
That's part of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay? And by the way, our views do not necessarily reflect those of Lakeside or Lakeside student or parent or anything else.
Right. We don't want
This
letters.
is just the three ramblings of history teachers. All right. Another question? Yes.
Come up.
Hello, I am Cameron, and recently Jennifer Lawrence came out with her views on the pay gap in men and women's salaries. Don't you think it's time that men and women deserve the same salary?
Okay. Are you guys familiar with what she's talking about?
In terms of what Jennifer Lawrence said?
Yeah. What she just, well, not just what she said, but what she just did. This goes back. This is a scenario that goes back to the Sony hacking scandal that took place. Was it last year?
I remember that.
When all the emails were all right. So a lot of things became public, and one of the things that became very public is that Jennifer Lawrence, who is a mega star in the country right now, her movies that she's in, she's a big draw, and let's say the Hunger Games stuff. We're about to wrap that up, and so that's going to come out. It's a big thing, going to make lots and lots of money. But what she discovered during the hacking scenario was that she was paid a whole lot less than her male counterparts in those movies, and yet she's the star.
She's the star.
And so because you have contract clauses and you keep things secret about who's being paid what, then that wasn't being disclosed, and so now she's found out and she's mad. She's written an essay that basically is saying, look, it's well past time for you to. It seems like it's slightly misogynistic not to pay a female lead actress and she is the draw in that movie, by the way. So why doesn't she earn the same or more than the people that she's acting with?
Because the people that are paying her don't have to pay her the same.
Well, right, they don't have to.
The question is, when do you make the legal step to make sure that it's equal? So that's what it would take.
Well,
is to say, And of course, Trump. What did Trump say? Because it's great. I'm just so glad that Trump is running for president. What
Is he
he
going
said?
to? He'll be President Snow. His hair will have to go white though.
Oh,
Trump
yeah.
would be Snow. You think?
I don't know. Anyhow,
Maybe.
well, he said something about that women should get equal pay if they do as good of a job as a
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
What?
That's what he said. People are still going to vote for him. Isn't that crazy?
Here's the thought. Me. I've been teaching for 4 years now, and some lady teacher. I don't know who's been teaching for 4 years here at school. I don't.
Some lady teacher. That's
That's one of those lady
You talking
teachers.
about that woman with the arms and the head?
You know what? Never mind.
I know
couldn't
her.
Think of a person that taught for 4 years. Anyway, we would get paid the same amount because that's what has been set by the school and by the law and all that. So, and no one is upset about that. No one says, "Oh, well, the government made us or the school made us get paid that." So why not? Why can we not say?
But there's a pay scale. So what if we said
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
a
Why can
female
we not create
superintendent taking over if let's say Mr. Cook retires and then a female superintendent steps up, or let's pick a school. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Will she automatically receive? Is there a pay scale for them? I don't know. I mean,
I think it's a set amount for.
or
each
do
school.
they, or is it a contract negotiation sort of thing? I don't know.
I think it is. I think it's a set amount.
Is that in every school or just this one? Maybe.
I was using us for example.
I know, but I mean, just
Well, I've been to
I don't
several
know.
schools, and I mean, it's pretty much set. in
Yeah, it's pretty
stone.
much the
Is it-
same.
okay, I didn't know.
So why can't we do that? Nobody's upset about that. I'm not upset about that. And so I mean, I don't.
Well,
Why
the
couldn't we
problem
do that
is,
and
Well,
everything?
okay, no. What if that teacher? Because here's the other side of it. What if she's a crappy teacher and you feel like you're? I assume you feel like you're a pretty good teacher. So, but you're going to get the same pay even though you bust your butt every single day.
I see what you're saying.
And she goes and sits behind her desk and lets things kind of go the way they go, and yet you're going to receive the same pay scale, or vice versa. You could flip that around, and so let's say she does a stellar job and you don't, and then yet the pay is exactly the same. Is that fair? Just because it's equal doesn't mean it's fair necessarily.
Right.
yeah, and also if you're talking about the entertainment field, so whether you're an actor or a comedian or something, you're talking about talent and how many people you can draw, and so your pay, male or female, is going to be based on how many people you can get in the seats. So I think, yes, I think that's wrong that she got paid less. If the reason she got paid less was simply because she's a woman, that's wrong. However, there's a lot of actors that don't get near as much as her because they're not as well known. They're not so. The entertainment field is different than I think a job like we have, where you can standardize it.
And that probably has something to do with their agents can negotiate
Right.
things as well with the people who've created the movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's actresses and actors all over the world that would work for free just to get in a movie.
Right.
And they're a waitress on the side or a waiter or whatever. So I don't know. That's a whole. I think when you talk about entertainment, that's a whole different ball game. I mean, it's hard to just make a flat rate. But I do think men and women. I mean, they should be paid the same. You shouldn't get paid less simply because you're a woman.
Part of what she was saying though was that she was trying to be fairly accommodating though, and not try to be a pain in anybody's side, and say, she won't go through hardcore, in your face sort of contract negotiations, and she was happy with. And it was, she makes decent money. Don't misunderstand anything, but at the same time, she's
A couple
now
dollars
says
more
it-
than we make.
Well, right, yeah, probably. But what she said in the essay was that she's no longer going to be passive in her contract negotiations. But maybe do we say in a competitive business like the entertainment industry, in a capitalist society like America, that's her fault for not stepping forward sooner and demanding more money up
Yeah,
front?
and she has an agent that probably does a lot of these deals. So I don't know. I mean, she could have probably. I mean, think about it. What is it? Hunger Games. I mean, there is. If she decided, okay, after the first one was a huge success, she makes or breaks the sequels. She has to be in it.
Yeah.
And they would lose so much money if they got a different actress to play. So she had some leverage after that first movie.
Well, look at like the sitcom Friends, and then modern day The Big Bang Theory. Both of those sitcoms, those people are paid more than anyone because those are, famous shows. It's the same sort of thing. There's kind of you can put supply and demand into it. People want that show, and so those people
And
who
the
are creating it
advertisers
are
are willing to pay money
Exactly.
to be associated with the show.
You know how much they offered Seinfeld? Back in the 90s, there was a little TV show called Seinfeld. And apparently it became the #1 show to ever exist on TV. And he was done after 9 seasons, and they millions and millions to get him to do one more season because they were the #1 rated show.
Right.
#1 shows just don't go off the air.
Right.
But he's decided, I'm done. I'm through. And he could have launched a host of other sitcoms. but they were going to pay him millions. And so it just goes back to how much in demand are you? And so when you take the entertainment field, that's a weird and wacky field. But in most fields, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Most professions, I guess.
Well, but I mean, just from if we just want to talk about the basics of the idea that equal work and equal pay. I mean, that seems like it should be a standard. But and how you implement that, I think, really does depend on the type of industry it is, and if it is a contract negotiation type of thing, because it's fairly subjective on right. Then
Right.
maybe she needs a better agent. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I know that if it's a standardized process of keeping women from earning as much as men, then that's definitely a problem.
Right.
And also, my question is, if you're making millions and millions of dollars,
How big did your yacht have to be?
why complain? You know, I would be happy with $1 million. You know,
$1 million. Yes, that would be nice.
That's just.
What if you had $1 million right now? What would you do? Would you
Podcast.
continue to
Invest.
teach?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would invest and I'd buy a new truck.
$1
See,
million
just
truck.
simple.
Well, I mean,
Just imagine.
No, I'm just asking. Yeah.
no, I'd buy. I don't know.
Well,
buy another
but you
boat
could, though.
too. Yeah, I could.
So here's a question: is it fair for people to have billions of dollars when there's so many people starving and suffering? Do you know what $1 billion? Okay, 1 million would be awesome.
Right. I'd be having
So
like 800,000.
1,000 million is $1 billion.
Really, I just need about $10 if anybody's willing to help.
We got to pay for my lunch. So the question
pass the hat.
is it okay for a person like Trump to have $10 billion?
Sure.
Why not?
And then
though? Yeah, I
there's
mean,
thousands of people start. Hey, I'm not saying I'm against it, because I think in this country specifically, you have the right to try to,
that's
make as
what's
much
awesome
as you can.
about our country.
I agree.
The whole-
I agree.
You know, y'all's last podcast was talking about the American dream, and everyone has that opportunity. Why take?
Is
why
that
take
true?
this guy down?
Does everyone have that opportunity?
It's harder for some people.
Trump was born with a rich daddy that was worth millions. So I was not. I was born on a dairy farm.
It's a biological conspiracy. They don't want us to be born to rich parents.
Yeah. So the question is, do we see? We don't have the same opportunities. That's bad. But you might have to work harder. But do you have the opportunity?
So really, you have the opportunity to have more opportunities. That's, I think, the key.
Yeah.
Right? You can get to the point where you can open up more doors for yourself through hard work and dedication and education. There's no guarantee, but at the same time, it can work out.
Yeah. So yeah.
But is it okay? Back to your original point, though, is it fair that somebody could have $1 billion and we got a lot of people who are like, starving in the streets? Where is our social responsibility?
I know.
Depends on who you ask. Some people with a lot of money tend to do a lot of philanthropic work.
Well,
whereas others don't.
I know that's true. A lot of people are philanthropists. They give a lot of their money away. But just take somebody that's got, let's say, $5 billion. You know how much good you could do if you took $1 billion of their money and start divvying it out? Of course, they provide jobs.
You start thinking about the kind of truck you could buy with $1 billion.
I know it.
Yeah, see,
I could buy a lot of trucks.
I want missile launchers.
Just did pulling a trailer. Missiles.
All right, we're fixing to have to wrap this up because the
Already?
bell's
Time
going to ring.
already?
It's time already. So,
Dang, it is.
anybody want to do the backflip this time, or?
No, you do it. You were good.
You
at
were
that.
really good at
All
that
right,
last
so
time.
we're going to
I
end
hurt
the.
myself.
Here we go. I'm just going to need your participation. I'm going to do a standing double backflip, and when I land, I'm just going to land on this finger. Okay, one finger is going to hold me up. Now I'm going to need your help. So make sure if you think I do a good job.
Can we set the hoop on fire this time?
Oh man,
You want to do it without the fire?
I mean we can. All right, here we go. Ready?
All right, hold on. No, light. Okay, it's on. Go.
Oh, it's getting hot. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe that.
Oh man,
Twice in one day. I don't believe you
It
have that
doesn't get
kind of
old. It is
No, it's
always
never-
enjoyable.
I can watch that
all day.
Yeah.
It's so enjoyable.
All right, that is the podcast. This is History After Hours, episode 6, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Out.